All right, guys, so in this video, we're gonna work through the spouse objection. So this is actually very easy to beat, and I want to let you know that typically what's gonna happen is once they say spouse and you start going through it, you'll find out it's really a different objection. It's about 80% of the time. 20% of the time, it's actually a spouse. So here's how you handle it. Let's say you go, hey, so George, the price of the program is $5,000. And George goes, well, sounds good, Tanner. I just need to talk to my wife. Or vice versa. It doesn't matter if they say husband, wife, same thing. So say, got it. Let me ask you this, George. What are you gonna do if they say no? There's gonna be two things. They're gonna either say, well, I'm gonna do it anyways. You say, great, let's sign up. That's very easy. More times than not, they'll say, well, I wouldn't do it. And then you go to B. You're like, got it. So what would their biggest objection be? And typically what's gonna happen is they're gonna say something besides spouse. A lot of times they're gonna say price. Now, if you guys remember in the last video, if they say price, what you do is you go to isolate on the price objection. So got it. So it's not actually your spouse, it's just price, and you just move. That's all you would do in that situation. You would just move, and then you go through the price objection, right? Now, maybe they say that. They're like, well, I think it'd be price. And you go through the price objection, and they go, yeah, I mean, that does sound better, but I still need to talk to them. So that's the third time they've now said it, which usually means it's a real objection. So then finally what I do is I go to past agreements. Past agreements means, well, look, let me ask you this, George. Did your wife know you're on this call? Yeah. She knows that you want to change? Yeah. She knows that you want this? Yeah. Okay, and if the roles were reversed, would you support her? Yeah. You love her? Yeah. So I guess I'm confused. Like, why would your wife not support you to do something that she already knows you're on the phone about, that she knows you want, that she loves you and supports you on? I don't really understand. Like, why wouldn't she do that? You'd support her, right? And you work through that. And then if they still, a lot of times, from there you can get them. And if they still say no, then what I do is what I call delayed payment. Because after 3 times, if you push anymore, you're usually gonna break a lot of rapport. So the last thing I'll do is this. I'll go, all right, George, so let me ask you this. Are you more than 50%, are you 51% gonna do this? Like, let's say if you wake up tomorrow and you feel the same way you are now, are you leaning towards yes or no? He's like, well, I'd probably lean towards yes. A lot of times they'll say that because they don't wanna hurt your feelings. It's perfect, because you go, well, I'll tell you what. If you're 51% or higher, let's do this, because I definitely want you to talk to your wife. What I do in this situation is if you're at least 51% sure, go ahead and put down a small deposit. Usually the deposit will be 10%. So if your program is 5,000, it's 500. It's 10,000, it's 1,000. So let's go ahead and put down a deposit. And if you go and talk to your wife tomorrow, and she says she doesn't want you to, get in better shape or make more money, whatever you're selling. She's like, she doesn't want you to get in better shape. She doesn't want you to be happy. She doesn't want you to be healthy. She says that, and you kind of say it in a little bit of a laughing tone. Then what I'll do is I'll just send you back that payment. We'll rip up the agreement. Sound fair enough? And from there, if they go, well, I still don't want to do that, you know that they're probably lying, because as soon as a conversation in sales stops being logical, they're lying, right? So when you say 2 + 2 is 4 and they go, no, it's not, it's 3, and you explain it, that's when you know they're lying. So from here, if they wouldn't do it, I'd say, well, is there any reason you wouldn't be willing to do that? I just don't want to do it. I totally understand. But the thing is 9 times out of 10, when someone isn't willing to put down a refundable deposit, and they tell me they're serious and they're over 51% sure that they want to sign up, they usually don't come back because they're just being nice. And so at the end of the day, George, you can do whatever you want, but if you're not willing to put down this deposit, I'm not really too sure if we're gonna be a good fit, because it's a no, like there's no real commitment, right? It's risk-free. And that's how you're gonna handle spouse, okay? So more times than not, I'd say 80% of the time right here, they're gonna change their objection to price, usually, right? And then you just go through the price objection. If you beat that, they'll buy, or if they still persist, you'll just come back to C and then you'll do D. But the key point is make sure no matter what, once you work through the objection a few times, if you can't beat it, then you're gonna wanna go to the delayed payment. Okay, so one more time. George, the price of the program is 5,000. You know what, Tanner, just gotta talk to my spouse. Totally get it, George. What are you gonna do if they say no? Well, I probably wouldn't do it. Okay, and what would their objection be? Well, it'd probably be price. Or they might say like, well, I just need to talk to them. Whatever it is, if they say price, you're just gonna move to that objection. So on price would be isolate. The reason I say price is it's usually price, right? It's not usually thinking about it or something else. And then if you beat that and they still come back, you go to C, go, okay, so past agreements, go, well, John, like, does she know you're on the call? She loves you, she wants you to do well, and if the roles were reversed, you support her, et cetera, et cetera? Yeah, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, why would she not support you to do something that she knows you want to do and she loves you and you would support her? Right? That's usually a good question. He's like, Tanner, I get what you're saying, but I just still don't want to do it. Then you go to delayed payment and go, well, look, George, I'll tell you what. Are you over 51% sure you want to do this, or 51% sure you don't? Cool. So you are 51, so if you wake up tomorrow and you feel the same way you feel now, you'll probably sign up? Yeah? Cool. So let's do this. In this situation, what I usually ask for is a refundable deposit, and then if you go to talk to your wife and you sleep on it and you come back tomorrow and you don't want to get in better shape or wealthier, or healthier, or whatever it is, you know, if that happens, I'll just refund you. We'll call it a day. Sound fair enough? And if they still won't do it, then usually I'll just ask, you know, is there any reason why you wouldn't do it? And I'll work through that. And then if not, something to keep in mind is you want to wrap up on a good note. So if someone's like, you know, I just need to talk to him, I have to, I'll say this. Well, I'll go, look, how much time do you need to talk to your wife? He's like, well, I need at least a day. It's like, cool. So let's do this. I prefer you do that, but you've said no. So let's do this. If you can tell me by 7 o'clock tomorrow, I can honor it. Anything after 7, I'm not going to allow you to come in because I also want to be respectful of my time. And so the key point is anytime someone won't buy, if they insist that they won't do it and you've tried and you've been respectful and you've gone through it, at the very least, put an end time so that they don't just drag it out for weeks on end. Because you got to make sure that you put a stop on it so that they don't abuse it. And a lot of times, guys, just keep in mind, if they don't buy on the call, they're not going to buy. So hopefully that helps, guys. This is the spouse objection. If you have any questions, again, as always, we're here to help. Ask in the group, the coach, the pods, etc. And I'll see you guys in the next video.